Shasana, and today we are going to start a very interesting topic of chemistry, which is, I think you had heard this name before. This is fiber to fabric, a very interesting topic and the journey of the fiber to fabric. So let's start. Firstly, let's see what is this fiber and what is this fabric. So, the fiber is something which is used to make the cloth. And it is like a thin thread like. And talking about this fabric, I think it is just the cloths, which like, for example, what are the fabrics? Just the cloth. And we see the cloth in the day-to-day life, and they are of the different types. They are of the different design. So, we have learned what is a fiber, just the thin thread-like structure. And we have learned about the fabric. What is a fabric? So, can we form directly fiber to fabric? No, not. So, what happens? That first we form the yarn or the thread. So, what is this yarn and the thread? I think you know that. What are the yarns? Right. So, these are the just thread, the long thread which is wrapped in a spear-like shape, and then that's called a yarn. So, let's see. So, firstly what we does, we take the fiber. And what are the sources of fiber? There are two sources of fiber. They are plants and the animals. Very simple. So, firstly we get the fiber from that, and then we form the yarns. What happens next? Next, from that yarn, we form something as fabric. So, the first we get the fiber and then forms the yarn from it, and then we get the fabric. So now let's study how to form the yarns from the fiber. So for this, let me give you an example. We does that process of forming the yarns from the fibers. We does that without realizing that. Do you know? Okay, so let me give you a clue. In the Diwalis, we take the cotton fiber and then spin it, and then we get the wick. It is known as the wick, which we place in the diya to burn that. So, that is the process of forming the yarn from the fiber. That process is known as the spinning. Let me write down that. So, that is known as spinning. So the spinning happens so that the yarn is formed from the fiber. So I think it is clear what is a spinning. And do you know that in the earlier time they didn't have the machines, the modern machines. Today in the factories the spinning is done by the machine. And at that time, earlier time, there was no machines to do the spinning. So what happens? What was used? What instrument was used at that time? Do you know that? Takli. Takli is used in the earlier time for the spinning, and it spins some cottons and so on, so many fibers. Let me write down. So the earlier instrument which was used is the takli. Now you was wondering, how does it it looks? Very simple. So it looks like, it looks something like this. Let me draw this. So over here it looks something like the spinning top. So that's how the spinning was done in the earlier time. And today it is done by the very big machine. And do you know one more thing? One more instrument, one more machine which was used? Charkha. And that was invented in our country, India. Yes, you remember the Gandhi ji? So he used the charkha and make the yarn from the fiber by the process of the spinning. So charkha was also used. So these are the two instruments which was used in the earlier time to form the yarn or the thread from the fiber. Now let's see some more. Let's move ahead. Now we are going to learn one more thing. How to form the fabric from the yarns. So how would you form that? So I think let's talk about the wool first. Wool. And I think that you know that your grandma was doing that. Right. Knitting. So knitting, I think you already know this. We need two knitting needles and then we take the yarn and we wrap it around that knitting needle and then make the knot. And the first column, all the columns are just made up of the knots, and the knots make that the result is to take all the yarn and form a one fabric. And that is done by the making the knots with the with the help of the needle. And I think that your grandma has made that so many for you, like some woolen caps and the mittens and so on. So here we have learned about the knitting. Now let's see one more thing. Now we have another one. How would you convert the cotton yarn, cotton thread to the cotton cloth or to the fabric? So we wear the cotton clothes at this time, as it is summer. In the summer we wear the cotton clothes. Now have you ever wondered why does we wear that? That's because the cotton cloth traps the air inside them. So that's why we wear the cotton cloth, and it also keeps us cool from inside. So now, how will you convert the cotton threads to the fabric? Now if we will see the cotton cloth, so you are not going to see the knots, right? It is not done by the knitting process. So how it is done? So it is done by the process of weaving. Let's see. So for understanding this weaving, we are going to perform a very interesting activity. But before that, let me tell you what is the weaving and how it is done. So the weaving is something like all the cotton thread. The cotton threads are pulled like this, and then what happens next is that some of the cotton thread are just filled under like this. That means up and down, or for understanding this. If you want to understand this, let's perform a very interesting activity. And I had got some material for that activity. So let me bring that. So firstly, let me tell you what are the materials, what you need. So take the two paper of the same size. You can take any size, but both the papers should be of the same size and different color, so that you can spot the different assume that as a cotton thread. So you will see the difference between these two, and you can spot that very easily. So let's see. So how you are going to do that? Take the two sized paper and then mark the 1 centimeter and make like this type of strips. Of the first paper, cut down that strips like this. And I had got over here, I had cutted this before so that it will not take a time in this video. So like this strips I had got, and then I had got this paper. And now you have to put this strip down and take a scissor and then fold your second paper like this, half, and cut it till this line, to the particular line. So let's say I am going to make like this. You have not to cut to the end, so that it will be like this. Then move on and cut all the stripes like this and like this, like this, like this. Now I think that you can see me. So cut it all the way like this, and then at the last you will get something like this. Can you see this? Now what you have to do next, take this paper, place it like this, and take these. Now the weaving, how it is done? Up and down, take that thread, take this filling and do like this. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, like this, as you can see over here. And then up and then down like this. 1 minute, I think that it is not cutted properly. One thing over here. Okay, so we had got like this. So how we are going to place this? Like this, up and down, and all the way till the last. Like this. Like this, you have to do all the way at the last. Place all of these threads up and down like this one. And then you are going to get the cloth, and this is the weaving. So if we known as loom. A very funny name, but that's the name of the machine. That is the loom. So weaving is done by the help of the loom, and as we have talked that knitting is done by the knitting needles. Now let's see. Now do you know these have, I've taken this. So this horizontal thread has a name. It is known as the weft or the filling thread. Very simple, because it is filling just like this. So this horizontal thread is known as the weft. W-E-F-T. Let me write down that. So let me draw that out over here. So these horizontal threads, thread is known as the weft or the filling threads. Okay, so let me tell you that it is known as the weft and it is just the filling thread. Now let's see these longitudinal thread, and these also have a special name. It is called as warp. Warp. So these are some names of the longitudinal thread and the horizontal thread. As you can see over here, the horizontal thread is known as the weft or the filling thread, and the longitudinal thread is known as the warp. Very simple names. Now let's move on. So now I think that these all is clear to you. And we are going to meet again in my next video, and for now let's end over here. In my next video we are going to talk about the types of fibers. So for now let's end over here. Thank you for watching this video and have a cheerful day ahead. If you want an improvement in me, so you can comment it in the comment box.